around much of Northern Ireland, eastern Scotland towards Aberdeenshire, perhaps actually starting the day on a largely dry note. But as we go through the day, the showers generally are going to become a bit more widespread. There could be some heavy ones, even the odd rumble of thunder can't be ruled out. And all the time, across northern parts in particular, some blustery winds, slightly lighter winds further south and actually across some central eastern parts, largely avoiding the showers, so staying generally dry. Temperatures on paper are going to be down a few degrees compared to recent days, but slightly lighter winds than we've had today. Then as we go through into Thursday, there's a swathe of wet weather pushing its way across much of England and Wales. That clears away towards the east, with showers following in behind, and a few showers across Scotland and Northern Ireland too, but perhaps fewer than we're expecting through tomorrow. Otherwise, through the end of the week and into the weekend, well, more showers to come for many of us. Bye-bye.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
It's the final week to see how you could be our biggest winner yet, touring in this stylish Elnag Baron 560 motorhome. This brand new 2025 model comes complete with kitchen and bathroom areas and enough space to comfortably sleep a family of four. We'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to add a few of your favourite things. Don't miss out as lines close on the 6th of June. For another chance to win the lot, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. That's State of the Nation every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, it's 11 o'clock, which means it's time for tomorrow's newspapers tonight. Join us over the next hour to find out a bunch of stories, including Jess Phillips has apologised for the delay in the grooming gang inquiry. Don't worry, Jess, it's only been 4 decades, nothing to be sorry about. And the BBC licence fee is set to shoot up. Got to pay for those diversity officers somehow. And Donald Trump is making women's sports female again. I'm Leo Kearson. Tonight I'm joined by Josh Howie and Kayrie Marks to take you through Wednesday's top stories. This is Headliners. But before tomorrow's news, let's go to tonight's headlines with Sophia Hill.
Leo, thank you. Very good evening. It's just gone 11 o'clock. Let's bring you up to speed with the latest headlines. First, some breaking news in this evening from the US. US President Donald Trump has decided not to hit the UK with his planned 50% tariffs on steel and aluminium. The White House says Britain will receive a different treatment due to a recent trade deal. This means that the tariffs will stay at 25% for now, although the UK could still face the higher rate from July. A government spokesperson says that they're pleased with the agreement and that talks will continue. Footage of a former police officer shouting, swearing and holding a boy's throat has been released by Dorset Police Force, a warning that the following video contains footage that some viewers may find distressing.
You're under arrest! You're under arrest! Get on the floor! Get down on the floor!
The force says that the release aims to counter misinformation about the case. PC Lorne Castle, who had previously won 2 National Bravery Awards, was later dismissed. A misconduct panel acknowledged that the teen had a knife at the time, but concluded that PC Castle failed to show, quote, self-control and professionalism. Mr Castle spoke to GB News earlier on this evening.
I know I made that split decision with no ill intent. My intention was good, which is why I've maintained my innocence and my dignity throughout it all, because I know my own mindset. If you've got officers that maybe might not make the right decisions in those circumstances, then maybe there's...
And the Tories have dismissed government claims that the surge in small boat crossings is due to the better weather in the Channel. The government has for the first time published the so-called red days, where favourable weather makes crossings to the UK easier. They show that there were 60 red days between the 1st of January and the 30th of April this year, where we saw better wind speed, wave height and the likelihood of rain all affecting crossings. Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp has claimed that the government's excuse is similar to that of a lazy student claiming that the dog ate my homework.
Numbers have gone up regardless of the weather in the English Channel. Look, the simple fact is this: 2025 so far has been the worst year in history for illegal crossings. There is no excuse for that. And frankly, if the Labour government's plan for border security is to pray for bad weather, then we're in big trouble. Their own Defence Secretary says they've lost control of our borders. Their plan to smash the gangs lies in tatters. They made a catastrophic mistake by cancelling the Rwanda deterrent just a few days before it started, and this is the result: total loss of border control and the largest number of illegal immigrants crossing the Channel in history.
Those are the latest GB News headlines for now. Now it's time for Headliners.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Thank you, Sophia, and hello and welcome to Headliners, where we give you the best of tomorrow's newspapers with the best of today's comedians. And here they are, Josh Howie and Kerry Marks. Hey. Genuinely the best we could get. And I just found out, Kerry, that you haven't seen the Goonies.
And Josh just got positively angry with me about it, as if it was a crime or something.
It is a crime.
I've never seen the Goonies, and I don't feel like I've missed anything.
Yeah, and I feel like
it only came up because it's coming up in a moment on the headline, by the way.
I feel like now you can't watch it because it's a childhood treat that you then enjoy as an adult. But if you watch it for the first time as an adult, that's a bit weird.
It would be weird, and also I refuse to watch it now that I've had this attitude thing come at me.
It holds up as an adult. It's the thing. How you doing? I remember you.
Yeah.
We used to do a TV show together.
I had less hair when I last saw you.
I was just... I
think you had more.
I know. I'm jealous. I'm looking... It's so thick. I just want to grab it.
I am.
It's like you guys
I'm a bit mentally slow, but let's please keep the comments about my hair. Let's have a look at tomorrow's Daily Telegraph.
OK, well, there's a big photo there of Paul Burrell, Diana's butler. He is now going to be the Chief of Defence Staff, which is interesting. I didn't know he was into all of that.
It's not really Paul Burrell.
It's not Paul Burrell. Oh, OK.
Just for anybody listening on radio.
Oh, OK. Well, sorry, it looks like Paul Burrell to me.
It does look like Paul Burrell.
It does look like Paul Burrell.
Like Paul Burrell,
yeah. It's not... Sorry, taxi drivers. I apologise. But the big story is, Trump attacks BBC over Hamas coverage. And there's a clip going out of... Caroline Leavitt, who's the press secretary, and she just rips into the BBC.
We have the clip to show you.
Oh, let's see this.
We don't take the word of Hamas with total truth. We like to look into it when they speak, unlike the BBC, who had multiple headlines. They wrote, Israeli tank kills 26, Israeli tank kills 21, Israeli gunfire kills 31, Red Cross says 21 people were killed in an aid incident, and then, oh wait, they had to correct and take down their entire story, saying we reviewed the footage and couldn't find any evidence of anything. Oh, okay. So we're going to look into reports before we confirm them from this podium or before we take action, and I suggest that journalists who actually care about truth do the same.
Oh, come on. I mean, why would Hamas lie?
No, it's crazy.
They're trustworthy guys, trustworthy terrorists.
What are BBC doing? Like, of course they would take Hamas's word as it.
Yeah.
That is BBC being utterly humiliated. We pay for it, technically.
Yeah.
And in front of the world stage.
Technically, yes.
Technically.
I don't pay my licence fee.
No comment. Neither do I.
Well, that's all three of us then.
Yeah, and it's just they've been humiliated, and rightly so. And it's just you could see it going on yesterday as it sort of came out, and you're like, you've got no confirmation of that. And then there was like video footage that came out that proved that it was all just a lie. Strangely from terrorists.
Well, yeah, and the trouble with this, Kerry, is that, the BBC is trusted. If somebody like me tweets something crazy, nobody really believes it. But I still get
Tune into Headliners. It'll be great.
You're not the same broadcaster as yourself.
Exactly.
We have a reliance on this, and the BBC absolutely called out here. BBC has been behaving like a Hamas gimp for months now. Hamas put out a story with no evidence whatsoever, and this one involved what seems to be invisible tanks that have apparently been reversing and then running over more people, the last lot vanishing each time as they change the story. And it's got... I mean, it's so incredible. Can I just quickly mention some of the stories that happened just over the last few weeks? Jordan took in a whole load of children from Gaza who had serious healthcare
Well, she's got a big house.
Well, she does. Yeah. And one of them had open-heart surgery. And get this, they then returned all those 17 children into Gaza, where apparently there is a genocide, and the world didn't say what on earth is going on. And the BBC reported it as a bit of a shame, but without even explaining how mad that is, how insane
what
that
about
is.
the 14,000 babies?
14,000 babies reported by the BBC, which would have made it the worst famine in history. There's never been that kind of record. Not that anyone would go for the record. And then had to backtrack on it and actually say it's 14,000 over a year will suffer from hunger, which is still terrible, but that's the opposite of a famine. That doesn't happen in a famine. The BBC is completely losing the plot with all of this.
Well, just for balance, I'd like to say the BBC, bunch of cool guys, also Hamas, really like them, do some great work in the community. Yeah. And let's also look at this story here. White Britons will be a minority in 40 years'
Do you want to do it now? Because if we say that we'll do it at like...
Oh, OK, we're going to do it later.
And that's going to keep later.
You're going to have to watch.
White Britons are a minority in 40 years. People are going to go to bed now, aren't they?
But if we're a minority, we're going to get special treatment. It's going to be wonderful.
Oh, yes.
Let's move on instead and have a look at the Daily Mail, Kerry.
Yes, we should do, because the story on the Daily Mail, how to armour plate your finances against Rachel Reeves' next tax bombshell, which I haven't read the story, but I think it's just advising us to go back to keeping it under the bed. Back to the old days. And the big story is the evidence. The Rwanda plan did deter small boats. And we have the Shadow Home Secretary, Chris Phillips, saying basically that it was working. And the evidence now shows that it was working, because without even actually doing it, just talk of deporting someone, actually just a plan. We didn't even have to do it. If we just carried on talking about it, it would have made some difference.
At one point, it looked like, it was going to come into force before it was stymied by the House of Lords or whatever, or judges or the ECHR, whatever it was stymied by. It looked like, it was days away from actually coming into operation. And I remember migrants were fleeing the UK to go to Ireland because they wouldn't get deported from Ireland. So maybe that's our solution. Maybe we just need to get small boat people going across the channel to Ireland.
Yeah, well, the Tories then called an election just before it went through, and it was a ridiculous choice for them, obviously. They got wiped out. But, yeah, so the idea is that it's like on these red weather days, which are... Then the idea is that lots of people are coming over. But the numbers now prove that it was... Last year they had better weather and people didn't come over on those days because of that was also coinciding with this Rwanda plan. So we spent, obviously, hundreds of millions on it, 500 million or more, and just basically gave all those hotels back to Rwanda. And we've got nothing to show for it.
Yeah,
So,
and this is Labour saying that the weather, it's the weather doing it. You're saying, which we should pay France to do bad weather reports for us, just to put people off. And really, the weather report and the immigration report are becoming one thing. You know,
Do you think they could have somebody standing in front of them?
We have mild wind and a 70% of immigration.
We've got to do that at GB News. There's got to be the weather person with the little magnet boats coming over. OK, we've got 1,000 people coming in at Dover here.
And they're coming to your local Travelodge.
So basically, the Conservatives said around and Labour say it's God's fault.
Should we move on and have a look at the front page of the Times?
Yeah, police cuts mean some crimes must be ignored. Of course, not tweets. Tweets, they've got to ring. Hopefully, that's what they're going to ring fence the money for that, so the police can go out sort of 8 police strong and arrest old people and pensioners and whatnot for contentious ideas. But yeah, this is the idea. I mean, I think that if you are wanting more money. And this is Mark Crowley going to basically staking his case for more money. You should maybe do the job well first. That would be more. I'm just
revolutionary.
Throwing that out there. You know,
But, Kieran, I've spoken to a lot of police officers who are...
I bet you have.
I swear.
We haven't got time for all those stories.
I swear that eel was in my pocket when I left the house. They're absolutely demoralised and hate the fact that they're being used almost as political tools. They've moved from actually policing crime to becoming a state ideology enforcement department. So they're dealing with, hate crimes, thought crimes, speech crimes, all this nonsense that shouldn't be illegal at all. Dealing with non-crime hate incidents instead of actually dealing with crime.
Absolutely feel sorry for them. If you're a cop, you want to go home and say, yeah, I caught a number of bike thieves, a murderer, and someone else who was beating up an old lady or whatever, rather than I caught someone saying something that could be interpreted as a bit naughty on Twitter and so on. But at the same time, police cuts means some crimes must be ignored. But that I thought they've been doing for years. That's why we're having so many inquiries at the moment. But maybe what they could do is they could let us know which ones they're going to be ignoring.
And then we can
act on that.
I
know what our freedoms actually are.
I saw a video about this. It's something that's called anarcho-tyranny.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nick Dixon
Nick? Oh, really? I thought I was the first person to bring it up.
And Nick's actually come up with his own term, temporal gaslighting, which is when the government tries to trick you into, like Keir Starmer tricking us into thinking that the idea that mass migration was a deliberate plan. They've always said that. When in fact, 2 weeks ago, if you said it, you'd go to jail for being a far-right conspiracy theorist. And then Keir Starmer starts saying it, and it's supposed to be the normal thing that we all accept. Let's have a look at the front page of The Guardian.
Can we not have a quick mention at the top of the Times with I took weight loss drug and my life fell apart. And I haven't read the story, but I know what it's about. This is about fat people who realised they were meant to be fat.
Right.
This is going to be all the people who...
They were like
the other ones who
people.
suited it, who just didn't have a plan for...
How would your life fall apart? I mean, did she lose her job at the circus as the fat lady?
No, but some of your personality goes with the fat,
Also, sometimes you would just go, oh, the reason I'm not having sex is because I'm fat, and then they lose the weight. And it's like,
I know that happened anyway. Yeah, it was the old story of the man who spends all his life savings on an operation to get rid of his BO and then discovers no one likes him anyway.
Anyway, The Guardian. So, speaking of Hamas gimps, they have got the story on the front page. Israeli fire kills 27 Palestinians waiting for food. That's the headline. But if you read it, it goes, according to health officials in the strip. Right. So they're continuing in the BBC vein.
But then I guess some people would say journalists aren't allowed into Gaza. I don't even know if
they
that's
are allowed into Gaza.
Are they allowed in?
But
they just get shot at.
People keep reporting this. What war zones are we seeing inside film from?
Yeah,
and who's going to allow...
Ukraine, you see everything filmed on drone.
Yeah, but you see everything filmed on phones, weirdly, even though supposedly there's no electricity, and how come everybody in Gaza's got an iPhone?
Yeah.
Let's be clear, there's terrible things happening in Gaza. It's a war zone.
Yeah.
That's what happens in what is awful. But the exaggeration...
Because Israel controls the water supply into Gaza, why don't they put something, put the transgender drugs in the water supply and turn Hamas into...
Or put some fluoride as well.
Yeah,
well, you know they had their own water supply, right, and desalinization and so on. But they smashed it all. They're taking all the pipes, the bombs. So it was there.
Let's finish off with.
We have Goonies just a second. Sorry, if that's okay. So I mean, are you hosting?
No, you can talk.
Okay.
I give you permission.
I thought it was the Goodies.
No, it's the Goonies.
I could talk about
it was such a magical thing. The making of the Goonies, one of the great children's movies. I watched it with my kids a couple of weeks ago.
Never saw it. It was rubbish.
It's amazing.
Absolutely
and if there used to be these things called DVDs, and they had this extra, and it's a film of them all as adults watching the Goonies, but you see them all. And Chunk, who was the little fat kid, is now like a famous lawyer in
real life.
he's like richer and more famous, not famous than all of them, but he's like thin and super successful.
No
he became
way.
like an entertainment lawyer.
What about the big guy with the face on a? Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he became a comic.
You're really into this, aren't you? Were they looking for buried treasure? Am I right about that?
That's right, yeah. There's treasure.
I love just the fact they put it at the top there, just alongside Bernie Sanders, who's talking about how there's too many millionaires. There's a nice little contrast going on at the top of The Guardian.
OK, well, now let's move on and look at The Express.
OK, The Express, we have more about how weather is causing immigration, and the story at the top left is they reduce women to no more than sex dolls with a pulse, and this is Vanessa Feltz, who's not the first person to complain about pornography. I assume this is about pornography, or it might be about Josh, I don't know. We've been up to...
I thought that was a picture of a sex doll with a pulse, but no, that is Vanessa Feltz.
I thought it was a picture of a sex doll without a pulse.
wait till the AI ones come along and, you know, they have no attitude.
The Yorkshire ones. AI, you want to stick it in here?
Well, wait till you have to compete with the sex robots.
Can I just understand, is she for or against porn?
Well, it depends how her career's going, I think.
She's making it sound good for you, is she?
I don't know. They were just women to know more. I don't know. She's not being really clear.
I think she's against it. I think she's saying that there's more to women than sex dolls with a pulse. And there is.
What am I going to do in the break now?
You sound such a feminist right now.
They make sandwiches.
Okay. Well, we've just lost all our female viewers. I'm going to say I don't agree. I think all women are wonderful and no one should feel this way. Can I just have a quick mention also, there's been a royal scare of someone broke into Windsor and they believe it's Prince Andrew looking for his reputation. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Jokes.
Quick
OK,
gagging.
well, that's it for this section. Coming up, we're going to dive into the papers. We've got stories like this one. Yvette Cooper is introducing digital ID to crack down on illegal immigration. I don't think she understands that they're illegal immigrants. They're going to throw their digital ID away, and it's us that are going to suffer from it. Anyway, this is Headliners, only on GB News.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Lee Anderson's Real World, Fridays from 7 p.m.
My mum booted me out. She kicked me out. I was 15 going on 16. Yeah. And she'd had enough. And, you know, I think she, like lots of parents, have their own issues as well. And I slept on the streets of Manchester for 12 months, which is, you know, was sort of an experience in itself. Regular occurrence, being beaten up, being urinated on, getting ill, feeling horrible. And someone took me in at first, and so I was essentially groomed into a gang that you know, were involved in nefarious means, and it was similar. It wasn't drugs, but it was similar to sort of the stuff you hear about county lines, where I was essentially a bit of a stooge, bit of a runner. Here, go and do us a favour, and we'll put a roof over your head. That then I fled that eventually after I think close to a year. And it all come crumbling down. A few months later, there was phone calls from the police. You need to come in, otherwise we're going to arrest you.
When did you change?
I thought, I'm trying to find a bit of part-time work to get by around college. And they said, well, the thing is, it's the law. We've got to be careful about data protection. And in my sort of naive mind at the time, I thought, right, I'm going to write to my MP. They can change the law. They're going to do it. We're going to, you know,
good luck with that.
This. Yeah, quite. I know now the difference. So in the end, I've always been a bit creative and a bit of a talker, as you'll know.
Yeah.
I thought, no, I'm going to interview my MP. I thought, no, actually, I'm going to interview MPs, plural. So I went around the country, essentially knocking on doors with a letter, explaining my situation, going, this isn't right. So I interviewed Jonathan Aitken, former Tory Cabinet Minister. Andy Burnham took me under his wing because I had a bit of a go at him and said, you've agreed with me for the last 45 minutes of this interview. What have you done about it?
Yeah.
And he said, I like your attitude. Why don't you come and shadow me in Westminster?
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners, and let's go to gbnews.com/yoursay to see what you've been up to. Stephen Green says, Leo, short, fat police officers can hardly be expected to catch criminals. Old people and tweeters sitting at home are far easier to catch without having to catch your breath. Good point. Maybe it is nicer catching tweeters like Lucy Connolly and Alison Pearson than actually rolling about on the ground with some real criminals. And Hugh Jarrett says, so talking about the Rwanda policy was sufficient to stop migrants coming to the UK. This is great, but I hope the government realise this doesn't work for other policies. They actually have to do things, not just talk about doing things. It's just the Rwanda one. It worked for. Anyway, let's look inside the papers, kicking things off with The Telegraph, and Labour have a solution to the immigration crisis. Digital ID to help track down British people who tweet about it. Josh.
Yvette Cooper introduced digital ID to crack down on illegal migration. So this is a really good idea because at the moment, the way they track migration is through twigs and leaves. So if they start using... how is it... Again, this is one of those stories, like, how does this not exist? What are they using at the moment to register illegal migrants?
Yeah.
If they're not using e-visas and digital records, digital ID. So it means that basically people just come in and they just go, oh, yeah, all right, fine, whatever.
But this carrying bits of dinghy around with them.
Yeah. This will be digital ID for British people. This will be digital ID for the law-abiding citizens. It's anarcho-tyranny again. Illegal immigrants would need to get digital ID.
She's specifically saying for people coming to the UK.
Yeah, but
you're right, it's only actually going to work if they do it for everybody, and then it's the people without digital ID that you know would be the people who are like illegal migrants. So it just doesn't work.
Yeah. And people throw away their passports when they come here.
You've also got John Healey, the Defence Secretary, who's admitting that Britain has lost control of its borders, which is, at this point, a little bit like someone admitting they've lost control of their bowels after clearing the room. It's like losing your dog and then admitting that you really need to get a leash. You know, and you go, it might be nice if you realise that a little bit earlier on. At this point, the Channel isn't really a border anymore. It's more like a themed water ride with people pouring in. And what we're doing is going to basically introduce a library card system during a jailbreak. It's not going to make a lot of difference happening here. So the idea is a new border security command, which sounds impressive. It's going to be 4 blokes on a WhatsApp, isn't it, from different security groups. But the biggest problem is no one is taking my advice, which is what I've been saying the whole time, is we should be doing imaginative things like putting signs in the sea that say England this way, which actually directs them back to France.
Genius.
Yeah, really good. On the cliffs of Dover, having a big sign saying closed. Yeah? And my other big idea is out-of-work actors swimming in the opposite direction screaming help, as if there's a monster.
Yeah.
These are all fantastic ideas.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah. We could move Dundee. We could move Dundee to the south coast. And then people arrive there and be like, I'm going back.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's what their plan is they're just turning the rest of the country into Dundee.
Yeah.
But she's very proud because they're like, no, we've increased illegal working rates by 40%. Like, that's just the tiny little... It's basically like a bath that they're chucking bits of water out, but it's like, instead of pulling the plug or stopping the tap, but we're flicking a bit of water.
Yeah.
That's the analogy I wrote.
It's not a shower in a bath.
Funny,
it's quite
Well,
nice
we've got the
analogy,
Telegraph
though.
now with Apple coming up with the radical concept of the police actually dealing with crime, Josh.
Someone had to say it. And Apple, that billion... how many? It's one of the biggest companies in the world, tells Met to embrace traditional policing in clash over phone thefts. So this is... We've seen some of the footage of just, like, people just getting their phone stolen as they're walking down the road. And there's a meeting between the Science, Innovation and Technology Committee, and basically they're going, "Why? Come on, Apple, why can't you just make it harder so you can just block the phone and brick it?" And Apple are going, well, maybe just deal with, maybe this is one of those crimes that you should get on top of and use data and work out where they're doing all of this and then have police there to stop it. throwing it out there. That's what
Yeah.
Apple are basically saying.
Yeah, that would
it
be
might
nice.
work. It never worked. Will it work?
Will it work? Well, the police are blaming Apple. Apple are blaming the police. Apple want the police to do traditional policing. Apple like their traditional solution, which is saying buy a new one, which, of course, it's not in Apple's interest. Is it? They're happy to have the phone stolen. They're probably sending people out to steal them themselves. You know, why would they care about it? But it's weird the police can't just track phones. My phone knows when I'm sad and which side I slept on.
Yeah.
You know, surely what I want is a phone that will start crying when it's stolen. You know, cry really loud and give me my owner back.
That's
you
it.
know?
It's listening. It's like I keep on getting like all these recommendations for penis extensions.
Yeah.
And it's like something's going on, you know?
Yeah, interesting. And I read something in The Critic today by, is it Gawain Towler? A writer for The Critic, anyway, who had his phone stolen. And the impact... I mean, I thought if your phone got nicked, that's, you know, you just lose your phone. They unlocked his phone and they stole, thousands of pounds worth of stuff, bought lots of sneakers and all sorts of things, and they got his crypto and all the rest of it. So it completely devastated his life, essentially. It's mad how much there is on your phone. And, you know, like you say, I think Apple could be doing a bit to, like, maybe... you know, make sure it's more secure.
Yeah, I mean, there's some photos.
Or maybe something like those beepers that Israel fixed up a little bit. We could have some phones like that you carry as a spare and occasionally walk around holding.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have to blow up. But
I have seen videos of people using decoy phones that have a little taser in them. And then the person gets tased when they're running away.
Let's do that.
Yeah, more of that.
Yeah, after I was pickpocketed once, I wanted to go around with a little book that had no pages in it other than just the title, which is "You Are a Rubbish Pickpocket." I hope someone took it.
Well, we've got the Telegraph now with some good news. You'll be able to save even more money soon by not paying your TV licence, Kerry.
BBC boss pushes for higher licence fee after grinding cuts. And this is basically the BBC were asking for, saying that in order to make better programmes, they need higher fees. Only the BBC could lose market share, get ignored by half the country, and then say we should make it more expensive. It's the only product where you go, this isn't working, no one's interested, let's put the price up. And what they're saying is that, you know, and it feels, for many of us, I don't pay that license. It feels like keeping a Blockbuster subscription at this point. The BBC make some very good programmes. They make the period, they've been known famously for their amazing period dramas and so on, which now, if they make one, it's all about how the world had no white people in it, and it's kind of a strange reputation. But it's they're one step away from turning you upside down and shaking you to get your lunch money at this point, I think.
I mean, this is the thing, Josh. They're very aggressive. I get the letters saying you haven't paid your TV licence. It's like, yeah, I don't want to. They're very sort of aggressive, and they shake people down. And apparently, a third of convictions of women are for non-payment of TV licence.
Really?
Yeah.
No, it's
right.
Look, if they actually did their job and provided quality TV shows and provided a news service that wasn't incredibly
I still wouldn't pay.
biased. Oh, well, fair enough. Well, you know what? I would pay. But frankly, I think that they've been spreading Jew hate, and I'm not going to give money towards it.
Oh, they're doing that? I might start paying. Anyway, that's it for this section. Coming up in the next section, we've got lots more stories, including Pakistani men more likely to be suspects in grooming cases. I know. I've been looking at the mugshots for years. This is Headliners, only on GB News.
Good evening. I'm here with your GB News weather coming to you from the Met Office. It is still going to stay quite blustery with some further showers across northern parts overnight, and I think many of us will notice that it is a fair bit fresher than recent nights as well. It's all due to low pressure to the north of us, keeping those blustery winds, especially, like I said, towards the north, and we do have fresher air than of late across us too. Like I said, the showers across northern parts continuing through the night. They could merge into some longer spells of rain for Scotland and Northern Ireland in particular. Elsewhere, and apart from a few showers across western parts of England and Wales, it's looking largely dry, and there will be some clear skies around. The clear skies combined with that fresher air I mentioned, meaning that it is going to turn a little bit cooler than it has done through some recent nights. Nonetheless, we're not expecting a frost or anything, of course not. It's early June, but it is going to be a cool start to the day, a bright one for many across England and Wales. Just a few showers here and there towards the west. More showers as we head further north, these continuing through the night and continuing as we go through Wednesday, particularly across western parts of Scotland and much of Northern Ireland. Eastern Scotland towards Aberdeenshire, perhaps actually starting the day on a largely dry note. But as we go through the day, the showers generally are going to become a bit more widespread. There could be some heavy ones. Even the odd rumble of thunder can't be ruled out. And all the time, across northern parts in particular, some blustery winds, slightly lighter winds further south and actually across some central eastern parts, largely avoiding the showers, so staying generally dry. Temperatures on paper are going to be down a few degrees compared to recent days, but slightly lighter winds than we've had today. Then as we go through into Thursday, there's a swathe of wet weather pushing its way across much of England and Wales. That clears away towards the east, with showers following in behind, and a few showers across Scotland and Northern Ireland too, but perhaps fewer than we're expecting through tomorrow. Otherwise, through the end of the week and into the weekend, well, more showers to come for many of us. Bye-bye.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners, and let's go to gbnews.com/YourSay to see what you've been talking about. Roy Russelin says, just put the illegal migrants in camps or send them back and treat the legal migrants with compassion. Can't we be mean to everyone? Roy, and Robert Hanford says, question for the Headliners. Why does no one in any programmes on this channel ever talk about Frankfurt Marxism? Because it sounds boring, is the answer to that. Let's look at some more stories. We've got the Telegraph now, and apparently Pakistani Muslim men are more likely to be in grooming gangs. I guess all those mugshots weren't lying, Josh.
Yes, so this is from the Telegraph, and this is headline is, because of Frankfurt Marxism, Pakistani men are more likely to be suspects in grooming cases. And you? This sounds a little bit Islamophobic, isn't it? Yes, so 1 in 10 people are thought to be involved in child sex rings, are coming from a Pakistani background. This was between 2023 and 2024, so historically it may have been more. And with people from Pakistani backgrounds accounting for 2.7% of the population, this means essentially they're overrepresented by not a third, by 3 times. They're 3 times overrepresented. And you always see this when people are talking about this. They're always going, oh, but most people who carry out sex crimes against children are white, and it's like, yes, people know that, but what we're talking about here is representation in terms of according to the numbers.
And also this specific crime, the Pakistani Muslim child sex gangs, they're quite separate in their attitude and their severity to other. I mean, obviously, all child sexual exploitation is abhorrent and must be, hit with the full force of the law. But to have children in cages being raped with broken bottles, branded, to be children being killed, it's another level of terror and absolutely abhorrent abuse.
And something I feel that we need to be honest about, because if only because we want communities to be able to work with us to discuss problems going on in that community and then try and weed out the people who are doing all this stuff. But you're right, there are cultural aspects with whole families joining in, which has been part of the strange thing about this. But there's another thing here. It's not just talking about that. It also says, by contrast, 90% of victims are white. And we're not allowed to black up, which would make us safe, which is very unfair.
Well, only 0.1% are Pakistani.
Yeah.
So there's obviously a discrepancy there of white girls being attacked. But interesting, this has got nothing to do with ethnicity. 2.6% of suspects were Indian.
Sure.
The overrepresentation comes from a Pakistani community, so it's got nothing to do with ethnicity, because it's a similar ethnicity. It's to do purely about culture. culture, and that needs to be addressed. That shouldn't be offensive. It can be uncomfortable to talk about, but then that's how issues get fixed.
And it's not even... I mean, I've got Pakistani friends who find it abhorrent and say it's not, you know, the majority of Pakistanis. It's the Mirpur Valley Pakistanis who came here. Apparently, they built a dam in the Mirpur Valley, so, you know, 60,000 Pakistanis were displaced, or 120,000 were displaced. So tens of thousands came to the UK, and it's this particular really isolated, insular culture, really quite sort of, you know, Islamically strict, and they see people outside the group, outside the tribe, as you know, others and you know, subhuman. So it's a very specific issue with
which means that if you can get it down to, if that is the case, then you can start doing something about it and addressing those.
Well, Labour are doing
why,
something about it. They're building an airport in Mirpur to facilitate the... I'm not even joking.
Really? Is that?
Yeah, I'm not even joking. It's insane.
Can I mention just an odd paragraph? You might be able to make sense of this, you guys, but it says, Deputy Chief Constable Becky Riggs, and then she says that there was an over-representation of Pakistanis, but rejected suggestions that they were predominantly Pakistani men. That's what it says here. I don't know whether she's using the word predominantly in a way that I don't understand.
No, I think
or
she's just saying, like, if we look at the actual... This is from that last year, but 3.7... What we're talking about here, 3.7% of all of these offences are child grooming offences of this type. So when it compared to the over 100,000 child sex abuses, which a lot of them are from people's homes and people's families, like, there's a huge issue here of child sexual abuse. This is a very small part of it. Of course, it's an important part. Of course, it needs to be dealt with. But that doesn't mean that there isn't a big problem that also we have to be looking at as a society.
Yep. Well, moving on, we've got the Telegraph now, and white people are going to be a minority soon. Does that mean we'll be allowed back on the BBC, Kerry?
That story's coming up in a while, actually. White British people will be a minority in 40 years. Bye-bye, white people. I'm not that bothered about this because I'll be dead by then, but it's...
basically, because I've got children. I'm part of a lineage.
They're not my problem, are they, your children? This is research by Professor Matt Goodwin of Buckingham University.
Hey, I know that guy. I didn't know he was a professor. I thought he was a TV presenter.
Yeah, he does both.
What?
He's a
you
polymath.
can't do both?
Yeah.
Wow, OK, good for him.
It does make you wonder if white people have behaved so badly through history, why are we so easily taken over, you know, in all different countries? Why is it so fast? So why are there more of every other ethnicity than white people?
Well, I think what happens is white people are, you know, we're very down on ourselves, but if you push, you know, white people to a certain point, then we
get outnumbered.
And then the backlash is horrific.
Well, when does the numbers change enough that we can stop hating ourselves and apologising? And when do we become the minority? Because that might be quite nice.
I think we're sort of at that point. We're at that point right now. So I think we're doing away with the, you know, all this decolonialism and abolishing whiteness that's been propagated through universities.
Well, if you say it like that might work.
You know, we're gonna, you know, I think we've got such a two-tier system where anybody who's not white is encouraged to celebrate their heritage and their history and all the rest of it. But if you're white, you've just got to be apologetic and atone and pay reparations. I think we're going to rebalance that.
But if people feel bad about this, then white women need to lie back and think of England more, right? That's correct, isn't it? That's what we need to be doing.
We can't just
we need
do
more
this.
sex. We need more babies.
We can't do this for your dating.
It's about me. Everything's about me.
Is this going to be your dating profile?
I'm doing
repopulating
for
the white
country.
population.
I'll do what I can.
But I think
it's not easy at my age.
We do need, you know, people need to have more kids, because the thing, when you have kids, you see yourself as part of a lineage and part of a, you know, not just a sort of atomized, you know, unit, a sort of GDP generating unit. And yeah, so Kerry, if you had kids, you might be fighting for this country.
And for the Jews. Why is it never the Jews actually taking over? Why are we always accused of it? And it's never. You never hear there's going to be 40 years from now, it's going to be all Jews. When's that going to happen?
I think somebody said that in Palestine.
Yeah, one little dot of peanut of land.
That's where we're from. It's probably where we're going to be back again.
Yeah, I think I'll be applying. I'll be applying for asylum there. Let's move on.
I'll put in a word for you.
We've got the Mail now with Trump making women's sports female again, Josh.
Trump administration gives California ultimatum over banning transgender athletes for high school sports. So there were some clips from this weekend with Riverside County High School, and basically a trans girl, biological male, A.B. Hernandez, 16, just bad everybody. just smashed all the records.
Wow, what an amazing woman.
Yeah, exactly, beautiful.
What's her secret?
Yeah, a big willy.
You'd think that would slow her down.
No, but it helped with the pole vault. Trump has come out and basically is now going to take California to court because Trump came out and signed a decree that he was banning boys in girls sport, and California, of course, have just totally ignored it. So now they're basically going, we're gonna sue you. But what they haven't really explained is how so. They're going to do it through the courts, but a lot of the times he seems to be withdrawing grants and any money. That's how they're using as leverage. They haven't really explained here what it is that they are going to do. What are these consequences? But he's saying there are going to be consequences.
But it does seem ridiculous, and I think it's something that even people on the left are waking up to. Like having this bloke, A.B. Hernandez, it's a bloke. You got testicles, you got testosterone and all the rest of it. Whatever suppressing drugs, you've got like a big skeleton and stuff. You can parallel park. There's all the advantages. Now you're smashing all these records. Now you're smashing all these records. It's not fair. It's obviously not fair. It's a nonsense.
No, I think it's unfair not to let trans girls win absolutely everything. I think don't get me wrong. I think anyone who wants to wear girls' shorts is welcome to do so. They shouldn't be running a competition in them, really. But this is, of course, the last battleground is going to be California. Even the surfboards have got pronouns, so it's where it's going to happen now. And biology comes second, feelings comes first, and the finish line is basically a social construct if you're in California. So they're going to fight this out. Trump's going to stop the money getting through, and eventually they're going to lose this battle.
Why is it only some people's feelings that matter? What about my feelings?
No one cares about your feelings.
Scottish man, or Scottish women, actually. Anyway, we've got the Independent now, and the gender pay gap is reversed. What will women moan about now, Kiri?
Well, exactly. The Gen Z gender pay gap, that's a lot of gen going on, has reversed, with young women earning more than young men. So what's up with boys? Even that title, what's up with boys? So when boys are earning less, is something wrong with us?
Yeah.
Right?
We're stupid.
We're stupid, but when women are earning more, it's because we're stupid.
We're so toxic!
We mustn't stop until we're all earning exactly the same amount.
But women are earning more.
Yes, I know, but this battle mustn't stop until it's all absolutely perfect, absolutely aligned to the people who care so much about this stuff. Men have been, men are also the early dyers. They're the ones who commit suicide the most. The reason why they're not earning as much is because they're busy jumping off bridges. But the battle of the paychecks goes on forever, and there's feminists saying this isn't a win until all men are living in a skip. I think that's roughly what I've taken from this.
Is the gist of it. So 2 decades of vilification of young men, surprisingly, means that young men are doing worse than young women. But how many people do you see? I mean, it's interesting that it's only sort of people are talking about it now, and it's coming from the Independent. And as you say, it's a bit of sort of victim blaming there. Yeah. So how has this happened? And also, is this a situation you actually want to reverse? You've got more doctors now, more dentists, so women are now suddenly we're going to be going, we need more, this is unfair, women shouldn't be allowed to be
do you think women will now,
to make it balanced?
Do you think women will be complaining that they're having to do all the work now? They're going to be like, what on earth? I'm having to do all this, and he gets to stay at home, putting his feet up, watching the darts.
And now it's been accused...
I think that is in the article, actually. They are saying they're earning more, but also having to do the housework, which, by the way, just don't do the housework, then. Honestly, that's my method.
I can picture your bathroom in my head. It's disgusting.
It's actually beautiful. May I just put the record right
there? You must pay for a cleaner.
Stunning.
Anyway, coming up in the next section, we're going to have Kate Nash. Kate Nash, the pop star who went on OnlyFans. She's complaining about feminism or something. We've got loads more stories like that. This is Headliners, only on GB News.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The recent heat wave is easing across parts of Spain and Portugal, but plenty of severe thunderstorms remain across northern parts of Europe. But across the Canary Islands, Spain, Portugal, mostly settled, a little cloudy at times, but we could see some quite severe thunderstorms across southern France, southern Germany, northern parts of Italy. This could bring frequent lightning, hail and also some strong winds. But elsewhere across the central and eastern parts of the Mediterranean, plenty of sunshine and temperatures are on the up through the week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. That's State of the Nation every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock, only on GB News, the People's Channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners, and let's go to The Guardian, where singer Kate Nash is standing up for women like me, Josh.
Yeah, British feminism needs reshaping into the sort of a shape of a willy, I guess. That's what she thinks. Kate Nash on her new single about trans rights. She's got a song called GERM, which is an acronym for Girl, Exclusionary, Regressive, Misogynist. That's what she thinks TERFs are, essentially, which TERFs, have, you know, we know what that means, but TERFs took it upon themselves, what was meant to be the slur, and they've sort of embraced it, or some of them have anyway. But she says here, this feminist trans debate, it's not a debate to me. And then later on she goes, I'm really open to nuanced conversations. And that pretty much sums up the totality of that entire movement. The LGBTQIA plus community she's referring to here. But I think that's a little bit... I don't know, transphobic, because there's a lot of things that she's not referring to in that. She's missing out quite a lot of letters within there.
I mean, I guess in the arts, you've sort of got to take this line if you want to work.
She can come on GB News.
And if you want to be mentioned in The Guardian as well, of course,
Yeah.
so that goes with it. She does say she's accusing the other side, as she sees it, of not doing critical thinking, which is odd because you only reach her point of view with critical theory, and there is no critical thinking going on here. But I do think she's... and as you say, she's complaining that there isn't an intelligent reaction to her cheap slur. This is all this conversation really needed someone to invent yet another slur to bring this down to the most immature level possible.
You're germs.
Yeah, you are germs. People who don't believe in biology calling people germs now, they don't even understand what it means. So
OK,
it makes her happy.
we've got the Daily Mail now with Air Canada's Pride Month advert hitting some turbulence.
Oh, I can't wait for people to see this. Air Canada sparks wild debate with its very progressive Pride Month ad. So Canada as a whole is about 10 years behind the rest of the world on this.
So we've got the Pride Month video. We've got a clip of it right here.
They'd say ahead.
It was a bit of a range of emotions this morning, coming here and getting dressed for this flight.
C'est un moment historique qu'on vit aujourd'hui. J'ai trouvé ça une bonne initiative pour la communauté entière. Je suis comme un petit thrill de faire le vol aujourd'hui.
J'ai là pour supporter ma fille, une de mes 4 enfants est dans la communauté. Quand j'ai vu qu'il y avait une occasion de supporter encore plus, j'ai mis mon nom tout de suite.
What the hell sort of weird language was that?
Well, basically, what's interesting about that, all those people we just saw are all women.
Oh, really? Are you serious?
No.
Oh.
But if you watch the longer ad, it's just they're talking about, now they put all the letters in. They're not transphobic.
Right.
They've gone the first 2SL GBTQIA+. So they put in everything there.
So that's two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer or questioning.
And by the way, that list should all be one person now.
Shut up. Intersex and asexual.
Yeah, and a plus.
By the way, and a plus for anything else.
You know what the plus stands for?
Oh, let's not go there, Josh. You're in enough trouble. But you know, asexuals have never been discriminated against. Asexuals are literally doing what the Bible and every father wants you to do. There's never been a father who's been like, listen, in this house, you're going to be asexual. In this house, you're not. There's not this asexual nonsense. Yeah. In this house, you're going to have sex. You know what I mean? Your dad says that.
You haven't even gotten to the questioning.
Yeah, the questioning.
How suffering have they done? Mum, Dad, I've got to come out. I'm questioning.
Yeah.
Well, go and answer it. What are you talking about?
I'm questioning what that could possibly mean.
2S, that's a Native American term, the 2S. Yeah. Two spirits, which doesn't apply to most people. They're not Native Americans, and that's not the reason why Native Americans were discriminated against.
And also, it's not a real thing. They invented it in the 90s. The whole thing, genuine Native Americans are very offended by this. The whole thing was made up.
Yeah.
But I thought this was a flight. I misread this, and I thought it was a flight of LGBT plus blah, blah, blah people who were going up to the skies to land on a rainbow, and it was a really happy thing. But it's not. It's just a
totally ridiculous
advert.
It's a ridiculous advert. Well, let's squeeze this in before we go, as somebody on a Pride March once said. That we've got the Metro asking if men should give up their seats on the tube to women. It's a bit rich considering the Metro can't even decide what a woman is, Josh.
Yeah, indeed. Should men, whatever they are, give women, whatever they are, seats on the tube? And one of the people here, it says, well, men are physically stronger and also women are dealing with caesarean wounds. That's disgusting! Anyway, that's not disgusting, but it's like, I don't look on the tube and go, wonder if she's got a caesarean wound. But no, I believe that, yes, men should give up their seats.
Yes, I agree.
This is a load of people who I don't know giving opinions about a thing that is totally irrelevant.
Do you give up your seat on the tube?
I take seats on with me. I take a whole load of seats so I can give them out to women.
You just lie down on the floor, don't you? You just roll around like a
help yourselves.
Because it's cleaner than your bathroom. That is what you do. I think it's great to see the Metro. Normally they're talking about, oh, anybody can be a woman by identifying, and now they're saying men are stronger. Yes, they are stronger. That's why they've got to stay out of women's sports. You're starting to get it, Metro. Anyway, that's it for tonight's show. Thank you to my guests, Josh and Kerry. Paul Cox will be here tomorrow night at 11 p.m. with Josh returning.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good evening, I'm here with your GB News weather coming to you from the Met Office. It is still going to stay quite blustery with some further showers across northern parts overnight, and I think many of us will notice that it is a fair bit fresher than recent nights as well. It's all due to low pressure to the north of us, keeping those blustery winds, especially, like I said, towards the north, and we do have fresher air than of late across us too. Like I said, the showers across northern parts continuing through the night. They could merge into some longer spells of rain for Scotland and Northern Ireland in particular. Elsewhere, and apart from a few showers across western parts of England and Wales, it's looking largely dry, and there will be some clear skies around. The clear skies combined with that fresher air I mentioned, meaning that it is going to turn a little bit cooler than it has done through some recent nights. Nonetheless, we're not expecting a frost or anything, of course not. It's early June, but it is going to be a cool start to the day, a bright one for many across England and Wales. Just a few showers here and there towards the west. More showers as we head further north, these continuing through the night and continuing as we go through Wednesday, particularly across western parts of Scotland and much of Northern Ireland. Eastern Scotland towards Aberdeenshire, perhaps actually starting the day on a largely dry note. But as we go through the day, the showers showers generally are going to become a bit more widespread. There could be some heavy ones, even the odd rumble of thunder can't be ruled out. And all the time, across northern parts in particular, some blustery winds, slightly lighter winds further south and actually across some central eastern parts, largely avoiding the showers, so staying generally dry. Temperatures on paper are going to be down a few degrees compared to recent days, but slightly lighter winds than we've had today. Then as we go through into Thursday, there's a swathe of wet weather pushing its way across much of England and Wales. That clears away towards the east, with showers following in behind, and a few showers across Scotland and Northern Ireland too, but perhaps fewer than we're expecting through tomorrow. Otherwise, through the end of the week and into the weekend, well, more showers to come for many of us. Bye-bye.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
It's the final week to see how you could be our biggest winner yet, touring in this stylish Elnag Baron 560 motorhome. This brand new 2025 model comes complete with kitchen and bathroom areas and enough space to comfortably sleep a family of 4. We'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to add a few of your favourite things. Don't miss out as lines close on the 6th of June. For another chance to win the lot, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there short and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point.
Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Guess who's back? Back again. Yes, I'm back on GB News after something of an absence, which I will talk about in just a moment. Tonight we'll discuss the migration figures. Labour say it's all because of the weather, but is that really credible? We had the defence spending review yesterday, and Keir Starmer says we are going to be, as a country, battle ready. But do we actually believe him? And I will discuss what I think is a very distressing case of a police officer out there. He'd been commended before, doing his job. He's been kicked out of the force in what I think is frankly nothing less than a kangaroo court. What on earth is going wrong with our police force? Have they gone soft? Have the police forces gone woke? But before all of that, let's get the news with Sophia Hill.
Nigel, thank you. A very good evening. It's just gone 7 o'clock. Let's bring you up to speed on the headlines tonight. Top story, the Tories have dismissed government claims that a surge in small boat crossings is due to the better weather in the Channel in the first part of the year. The government has, for the first time, published the so-called red days, where favourable weather makes crossings to the UK easier. They showed that there were 60 red days between the 1st of January and the 30th of April this year, where wind speed, wave height and the likelihood of rain all affected the crossings. Now, Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp has claimed that the government's excuse is similar to that of a lazy student saying, "The dog ate my homework."
Numbers have gone up regardless of the weather in the English Channel. Look, the simple fact is this: 2025 so far has been the worst year in history for illegal crossings. There is no excuse for that. And frankly, if the Labour government's plan for border security is to pray for bad weather, then we're in big trouble. Their own Defence Secretary says they've lost control of our borders. Their plan to smash the gangs lies in tatters. They made a catastrophic mistake by cancelling the Rwanda deterrent just a few days before it started, and this is the result: total loss of border control and the largest number of illegal immigrants crossing the Channel in history.
Around a dozen officers searched another abandoned building this afternoon next to a vineyard as part of the probe into the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. German and Portuguese officers are working near abandoned buildings just a few miles from Praia da Luz, where the 3-year-old vanished in 2007. It's part of an investigation into the prime suspect, Christian Bruckner, who's currently in prison and due for release in September, unless new charges are filed. Madeleine's family say their determination to leave no stone unturned remains as strong as ever. And the UN has called for an independent probe into the civilians harmed whilst trying to get food into Gaza. This comes as local reports say that 27 Palestinians were killed by an Israeli fire near an aid distribution site in Rafah early on Tuesday morning. The Israeli military says its troops fired warning shots at the individuals who approached from outside the designated aid routes and posed a perceived threat. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, backed by the US and Israel, runs the aid site, though the UN and the major NGOs have refused to cooperate, calling the system unsafe and politically compromised. Defence Secretary John Healey, speaking on behalf of the government, has called the situation agonising.
We must allow the aid that's so badly needed to get into the civilians. We have to see the hostages released as well. So that's why we're backing in full the efforts of the US, Qatar and Egypt to put an end to the fighting, get the aid in, get the hostages out and start the process in the end that must follow the military fighting, because there is no military solution to Gaza.
Those are the latest GB News headlines for now. More from me in an hour, but now it's back to Nigel.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
What a very good evening to all of you. I am delighted to be back on GB News. Been quite a bit going on in my life, one way and t'other. It is, of course, today, the 3rd of June. 1 year ago today, I announced my retirement from active politics had ended and decided I'd stand in the general election. And the reason I've not been with you for the last couple of months is, of course, because I've been leading a party fighting the English local elections. It's been a very busy and, I think, from my perspective, very productive time. It certainly had an impact, what a very big impact, on the Prime Minister, who seemed to mention me 16 times in his speech the other day, which is quite remarkable. Anyway, I'm back on GB News and we're discussing the issues of the day and some stories that you might not yet have heard of, but perhaps should. As you know, last Saturday was the biggest day this year for the number of people, young men mostly, that crossed the English Channel. The numbers are 42% up on the year from this time last year and 95% up on the same point in 2023. In fact, the numbers that came on Saturday, just shy of 1,200, were the second biggest day ever in all of this. And normally, you would expect the biggest days to be August, September into October, especially when not just calm weather, but when sea temperatures are higher. If I was paying a trafficker to cross the Channel, I'd want to come when the sea was warmer and not colder. But I find it pretty extraordinary, this whole saga, that Number 10 say it's because of the number of red days, the number of days when people are able to cross, and that's why the numbers are up. And yet, the Conservatives tried the same trick. A couple of Christmases back, James cleverly said this is the first Christmas in years that people have not crossed the channel, leading me to retort, you may be called cleverly, but you're clearly a moron. I'm close to Dover now. The wind has been gusting at 50 miles an hour. That is why there are no migrant crossings. You're all charlatans and liars and all deserve to lose your seats at the election. Well, it was Christmas time. Perhaps I was refreshed, I don't know. But it was blowing at 50 miles an hour. But there were the Conservatives claiming credit. But the truth was the bad weather meant they couldn't. Following all of that, the former Labour leader Neil Kinnock said, following dropping crossings last year, Sunak took credit and claimed it had nothing to do with the weather. Now numbers are up, he blames the weather. Time to replace Tory boats chaos with Labour's cross-border police unit and 1,000 new immigration enforcement officers. And here we are with Labour doing it again. So both sides try to pretend that it's all because of the weather. But the truth is, are Labour credible when they say things like this? Tweet #Farage on GB News or email farage@gbnews.com. I think it's all nonsense. I'm joined by Kevin Saunders, former Chief Immigration Officer for Border Force over in Calais. Kevin, you know, we all know that people come when it's calmer than when it's rougher. But frankly, for both sides to try and claim credit or blame the weather, frankly, is ignoring the real problem, isn't it?
Oh, isn't it just, Nigel? It's so ridiculous, it's just not true. What's happening in real life is that this government have got no idea on how they're going to stop the boats, and all that's happening is the migrants are saying thank you very much, and they're coming over whenever they possibly can, and it will continue. The biggest mistake that Starmer made was getting rid of Rwanda. We should have given Rwanda a chance. It might not have worked, but certainly without it, there is now no deterrent.
Well, I agree there's no deterrent, Kevin, but just to come back at you on that, you know, Rwanda didn't work because when that plane was on the tarmac, about to go, at 10 p.m. in Strasbourg, a judge said it couldn't go. Wasn't that really the problem?
Well, I mean, yes, we tend to blame Strasbourg, but the Europeans fall afoul of Strasbourg and they just ignore it.
Yes.
As you well know,
Yes.
Nigel,
Yes.
the Europeans, if they don't like what Strasbourg say, they ignore it and carry on. And I had a conversation with a French colleague about Strasbourg, and he said he shrugged his shoulders, as the way the French do, and said, they'll see us in court in 10 years' time. Then it'll all be over and all be forgotten. And isn't that just true?
Yeah. No, Kevin, it is true, but we Brits are a law-abiding type, you see. That's the whole point, and we join a club and we obey its rules. One last quick thought, Kevin. Seems to me that the numbers this year could just go through the roof. Seems to me the French aren't really playing ball, despite having been given and pledged a staggering £800 million since 2014.
Yeah, they're getting £500,000 to stand on the beach and take photos of people getting in boats. I find it ridiculous, Nigel. We see the French riot police out in Paris en masse dealing with rioters after a football match.
Yeah.
And yet the gendarmerie in northern France, which actually has some CRS operatives in, are too frightened to go and deal with the people because, and I quote, they're throwing stones at us.
Oh, dear, dear, dear. Poor darlings. Kevin Saunders, as ever, a pleasure to have you on the panel. I'm joined by Lord Stephen McCabe, recently a member of the House of Lords after many years as an MP, Heather Wheeler, former Conservative Member of Parliament and former Parliamentary Secretary in the Cabinet Office. Let's face it, Stephen, smash the gangs never meant a blooming thing, did it?
Well, I'm not sure I'm going to agree with that at all. I think it is difficult, and I think we have seen some of the problems, the difficulties that the French are having coordinating intelligence to stop the boats. I think actually what Keir was doing in Albania the other week was right, because that is one of the key locus points for some of the traffic from Africa and the Middle East. So, I mean, if you're going to try and smash the gangs, then you actually have to go further back. back. And we did see, I think it was just last week, didn't we, the sentencing of the first gang boss in this country. So the problem is not enough is occurring at the moment. I don't think this is an easy problem. I mean, quite honestly, anybody who says they've got a glib answer to this, I think is probably a fool or a liar. But it's clear we're going to have to do more, and we're going to have to step up the action with other partners if we're going to be able to smash the gangs.
Where I take issue is this. That Australia faced the same problem. Remember, a few years ago, the boats were coming from Indonesia. They were bigger boats with more people on them, but it was a similar problem. And in the end, Tony Abbott, the Prime Minister, gave up. He tried all the other routes available. He just towed the boats back to Indonesia. The UN went mad. The EU went mad. The British Foreign Office went mad. But the boats stopped coming. Aren't we going to have to do something? I mean, I've urged the Prime Minister twice to declare an emergency, given that I think there is a grave national security implication. Isn't it time we did something radical?
Well, I mean, I don't... It might sound good to say we'll tow the boats back to France. I'm sure that would do a great deal for our broader cooperation with them and other things, you know.
I get the point. I understand that it's not without risk, but public opinion won't put up with this, will it?
No, I think the public are very distressed. My own view is there has to be greater international cooperation. There has to be faster processing of people who arrive here, and I would prefer to see offshore processing so that we could actually make it easier for legitimate people to come and less of an incentive for illegitimate people to arrive.
I was pretty angry with Mr. Cleverly, as that Christmas tweet showed. But the point was, we had years of a Conservative government, different prime ministers, different home secretaries, different plans, and nothing changed. And it looks like it's going to get even worse now.
The difficulty is, exactly as you say, it is weather permitting, isn't it? And because we've got very, very good weather at the minute, it is just phenomenal. I thought the idea about smashing the gangs was that they were finding the way of the great big inflatables coming through Turkey and Germany. I thought the whole point of that was that they were going to be stopping. They weren't going to get from either Turkey to Germany or Germany to France. But that seems to have gone out the window.
Well, that's what I mean about trying to tackle it further back. To be honest, by the time they reach France, we've got a specific problem, but the numbers who are reaching France are a much bigger part of the problem.
But isn't the problem, Stephen, it's a bit like saying we're going to smash the drug gangs, right? I've been hearing for decades, we're going to smash the drug gangs. It almost doesn't matter how many gang leaders you put in prison or how long you put them in prison for. It almost doesn't matter how hard you try to stop dinghies that are being manufactured in Turkey coming in. Reason being, the financial rewards for the traffickers are so great, there's always somebody else to fill their shoes.
Yes, and actually part of smashing any major criminal element like that is to try and collapse the market, which is why you have to have other methods of cooperation as well. And when you do succeed in tackling some of the big players, you've got to take their assets off them.
Well, I get that point. I just think the money's so great, more people will come. Isn't the real truth of this that the only way we stop people coming is if we send out a message that if you come here illegally, through an illegal route, you won't be able to stay, you'll never get indefinite leave to remain?
Well, that's exactly what we tried to do, and as ever, we got pushback from the courts and from all the lovely people that get very upset about these things. But you're quite right. I mean, at the end of the day, we're a sovereign country, and we should be able to say what our laws are. And that's it to me.
So you feel the ECHR is a major barrier?
It's going to go. It's going to go.
It's going to go?
Yeah.
It's going to go. It's interesting. Going back a few years, when David Blunkett was Home Secretary, I'm saying 20 years ago, maybe almost 25 years ago, the ECHR was less active than it is these days. And Kevin Saunders' point was a good one, that we obey all the rules and everybody else ignores them. But when Blunkett was Home Secretary, he wouldn't have put up with this, would he? He'd have just deported people back to their home countries.
Well, I think we did have the problem of votes for prisoners during that period, and that was an ECHR
which they ignored.
Ruling. Well, we strung it out for a very long time. Look, I mean, I think I wouldn't be obsessed with the ECHR there. I think we can afford to challenge the rulings. I think there's a wider argument about reform of that court. But the reality here is that we've actually got to get more control. The point you made a second ago, making it clear that these people won't get citizenship would be one of the best. And the government has taken a big stride in that direction the other week.
Well, we could go further and say you won't get indefinite leave to remain.
We could, but actually at this stage, there will be some people in those boats, and you know this as well as me, who will actually pass the genuine refugee test. So you can't, it seems to me, you're assuming in advance what the outcome is. I think you can say if you come here by that route, you will not get citizenship. Yeah. Well, and that would be something that would be a big disincentive.
And on the national security point, you know, there were 3 arrests within the last few weeks of Iranians that came by boats who intended to commit a barbarous terrorist act. Surely this is a national security emergency.
I think we are very close to that. I can't see Starmer accepting it because it goes against everything that he feels as a lawyer, man of the CPS and all that. So I just can't see him doing it. Now, whether the people behind him, whether the people behind the Home Secretary will agree, because she's the one that's got to carry the can.
Well, final thought on this subject before we go to the break. Tens of thousands of undocumented young males coming into Britain. 3 terrorists arrested within the last month. This is an emergency, isn't it?
Well, the 3 Iranians, that's to do with the IRGC and the Iranian authorities, and the best step there would be to ban the IRGC in this country.
So why don't we?
Well, I am hopeful that may be something you and I will agree on as it happens.
We will. Well, I tell you what, on a point of agreement, we will go to a break. How about that? Yeah, it's been a mystery to me, that one.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, and as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.